Welcome to Lights On Podcast. If you like what you hear, and if you're feeling generous, please rate us 5-star and share us with others. I'm your host, Mitra, Manesh. I'm the founder of INNERMAP, a new mindful storytelling and coaching app. I teach at UCLA's Mindful Awareness Research Center, and for the past 35 years, I've been coaching my brilliant clients on 4 continents to live, love, and lead more mindfully, peacefully, and joyfully at home and at work. You can find out more about my work by visiting mitramanesh.com. But right now, I'm grateful for your presence and your mindful journey. Today's episode is about our relationship with time. I've taught many classes on this topic, but I think in this particular discussion, it was in the class, somebody was asking, so how do I work with myself when I'm lost in time, losing time? I lost a sense of time. And I talk about the fact that we have a very unfriendly, actually the title of the class was Befriending Time. When we have this unfriendly relationship with time and we use languages that is all about competition and losing and killing and it's just a very harsh language and deadlines and, killing times and losing time. It's a very much indicative of the nature of our relationship with time. So in this series of classes that I conducted, the discussion was about befriending time and working with time. It's a different kind of a mindset. It's actually a sense of heart openness rather than a mindset. But it's about cooperation and working with things as opposed to this sense of separation that we have created with the world that we live in and all the aspects of it, which time is one of them. So losing time was a very interesting discussion when we're actually connecting to our creativity, when we're connecting to just being in the present moment. We call it, we lost time. I lost time, a sense of time. And it's a very fruitful and important part of our creative life. So we need to have, actually, I allocate time for that, for daydreaming and just, sitting under the sun and just looking at trees or watching the kids play in a park. These are important part of our life, but we do not allocate time for it. And when it happens, we call it losing time. So how do we do it in a more practical way? Because as I explain in this discussion that you're about to hear, is that we go either to one extreme, that we want to really be harsh and on top of the time and always aware of the time, or we may be go to other extreme of like losing our time and not showing on time and not meeting our timelines and things like that. So there's a happy medium place that I'm suggesting in this discussion, which is in a very aware frame. I can just be in the present moment and be open to whatever comes up for me. And that is that I can actually create an order, give it some frame. I suggest a very gentle alarm and be set so that I'm not too aware of the time. I'm not constantly checking my time, which happens in a survival mode again, when I'm always aware of time in a very guarded way, as if like something bad is about to happen. So that is my suggestion, that I have a very gentle alarm on my phone. It's one of these gentle bells, and you can set it, and that allows you to have an order to your day, but you also have that openness to your day and allows you to do your daydreaming, that being present and connecting to nature and to children and to other people. And it's a very interesting way of working with time and very balanced way of working with time. Let's listen together.
What you called losing a sense of time, that's interesting. Even that is a very interesting statement, that when we are comfortable with a sense of time, we call it losing. It really is connecting to the expansiveness of the experience of time. So then the thinking mind comes in and says, what about if I have, limitation in time? We have to finish at certain time today. I have to leave at certain time. One of the suggestions I have for practitioners is that you put a, alarm somewhere, a gentle alarm somewhere, and don't worry about the time. That constant awareness of time is what the problem is. And the extreme of it is not, the other extreme of it is not losing time, but it is to really go deep in the time. Because when we talk about time, there is the linear time, like how long it is. There is the depth of time, how deep it is. That's why when you're sitting somewhere and enjoying yourself, your experience of time is very different than when you're standing there waiting for someone, because they may be both 10 minutes, but they're in their essence, in their depth, in your experience of it is completely different. That 10 minutes of being with someone is that you enjoy is very different than 10 minutes of waiting for your ride to arrive, where you really rush. So no, losing time is not the right way of describing it, but we don't want to really have no command of our time either. I call it command instead of losing. I want to feel the expansiveness of time, but also be aware of it, because they've always given us two choices. You're either always alerted and worried about time, or you're a person that I can count on you, show up anytime you want. And I'm saying there is a happy medium when I have awareness of time, but I also have a very healthy relationship with time. They don't need to be mutually, exclusive. It doesn't need to be either or. You can actually find that way where you are knowing that what time you need to finish and when you need to get up, and there are ways to do that. But also in that time, you really, as you called it, lose yourself or connect to the expansiveness of time. That's the better way of describing it than losing it, because that again goes to the mind language. Losing yourself, it's like, oh, I lost something, somebody won and I lost. So expansiveness of time. Yes.
Hope this episode answered the question or two for you, or provoked and inspired questions in you. I'm so grateful you showed up and listened up. Until the next time, be well and stay curious.